Hello and welcome to another how-to video of Infor's PLM Discrete version 10.2. I am Brian Rockwell, PLM Solutions Architect at Rockwell Consults. The workflow or business process, as it is called in PLM, is what drives PLM operations and such activities as the engineering change order and the release process. Because of the way PLM handles those operations through a task-driven approach, we can review the dispatch process and how to add items and documents to the business process. We will also review the different types of attachments and how they behave. Once that has completed, we will launch and review the business process and then take a brief look at the task list. Okay, now that we have logged into PLM, let's create a new business process. This is done from the business process pane as seen here. The fields are basic and do not need too much description other than the business process ID, which is generated by the system, the business process template name, the originator, which is also populated by the system, the business process type, which is used to group together various types of templates in one group, the project, which in this case is test, and the status of the business process. There are a couple ways we can create a new business process, but for this exercise I will use the long way. This is the preferred method to provide the most leeway when selecting the objects to attach. We will review that a little later in the video. We start by selecting the Add button and filling out the appropriate information. Some of this information will be filled out for you, but the key field here is the template, as that is what will drive the steps created in the business process. Now that the workflow is created, there are a couple things to note. We see that the status is undefined, which means there is no indication to the outside world or to other users that this business process exists. Also, by looking at the workflow pane, we see that all the steps that have now been created are now created from the template. If the template is modified after business process creation, the steps of the existing BPs are not affected, as the template is used only once during the actual business process creation. Now we will open the item list and add an item to the business process. Again, there are a couple ways to do this, but I will show the preferred method to illustrate the most flexible way to attach or link items and documents. For now, we will only concentrate on a single item, but the same process is used for multiple items or any combination of items and documents. First, we select the item we want and right-click and select Source. Once we have done that, we return to the business process and right-click on it and select Data and Link. This gives us several options to select. I have since discovered some interesting behavior of which I will describe later. For now, I will open the help file and show what it describes will happen. According to documentation, the two aspects are first, linking to all steps within a business process or only attaching to the business process, and second, locking or unlocking. If you link the item to all steps, that means you will need to approve that item at each user and group task in the business process. If you only link the item to the business process, you have the option to select the steps you want to have the item approved. This will be more a business decision as to how the business process is set up. I will discuss locking in a little bit. For now, we will attach the item with the prescribed method. Now that it is linked, let us launch the business process. Now that we have launched the business process, let us review what is going on and see what can be determined. We see that the status is now in progress. This means other users are now aware this business process is active and tasks have been sent out depending on configuration. Also, the first business step is now blue to indicate that this is the active step. This item is also locked to the business process, and the color is now changed to yellow to help clarify to other users the item is locked to a business process. If we open up Iron Man's task list, we see he now has a task to process. This is where he will need to review the just attached items and/or documents and follow any instructions given. We will continue with task processing in another how-to video. Now I want to review the locking mechanism that I mentioned before. The help file claims that if it is locked to the business process, no further changes can be made. Here's where I discover something interesting. I created a scenario to see what was the actual behavior and discovered that I could make changes to an item that was locked to a business process, like so. This is contrary to what the documentation says, therefore I was beginning to believe I'd found a bug. This was surprising to me, but then I remembered that there is a read-write, read-only option in the template which also appears in the task details. I decided to play with it a little and found that if I set the task to read-only as opposed to read-write, it does in fact stop me from actually modifying the item. So based on my rather simple testing, I determined the template task designation actually is the one to control the ability to modify an attached object. The locking mechanism does nothing but give you a nice yellow color. For more information about other how-to videos, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. To learn more about Rockwell Consults and how we can improve your manufacturing processes and data management, go to rockwellconsults.com.